Hello YouTube! It's me, Whirlwind, aka Winda's Man, and today we've got new cards just came out like a day or two ago. The rest of the branded stuff showed up now. We now have Branded Fusion, Lubellian, Mirrorjade, all the stuff to boost the Despia archetype and a lot of fusion archetypes in general. So what I've done is I've saved climbing to Diamond 1 so we could play with the new cards and we can climb to Diamond 1, and we've done it. We actually went on a 10-game win streak with this deck earlier. I've present to you, it is Grass Branded Shaddoll. We tried a bit of the regular like Branded Despia, Adventure Despia, and they were good, but they didn't feel as good as this. This set was really powerful. So I'm gonna go through the deck profile right here, break it down for you. I've only got a couple replays to show this time, just because like these games tend to get really long and really grindy, especially when the rest of the meta is all Despia, because everybody also is playing this deck. But if you want to add Shaddolls and you want to add more power and a lot of more thinking to your Despian gameplay, this deck is awesome. It's insane. So let me show you the rundown. So we got our hand trap lineup. We're playing one Effect Veiler, one Ogre, triple Max C, triple Ash, and then double Nibiru. That makes our hand trap lineup. Most of those are just for like the one of crossout, if we ever do just draw the crossout, which happens, but also they're just good hand traps to have in general. Nibiru is kind of mid right now, but if you draw it in conjunction with like Veiler, it's pretty solid Ogre, and it's a light, which helps with making your plays, your fusion plays. You guys in the chat. Now the monster lineup here for Despians, I'm playing one Comedy, two Tragedy, two Aluber, and one Adlib. That makes up the Despian lineup. I didn't feel like we wanted to have a full set of Aluber to go into. We are playing triple branded opening, triple branded in red, and triple branded or double branded in red, triple branded in fusion. Because it's better to branded opening into Aluber when we're also playing the adventure package. So because like milling Enchantress with Grass is extremely powerful. Sometimes you'll mill a Griffin, but this just being a +1 is super useful when you want to have discards and stuff like Branded Fusion. If you open the right package, you get to insulate your Branded Fusion combo with that as well. So because we're playing the Adventure Engine, the typical 7, we are only playing 2 copies of Aluber. It is obviously nice to open as well because you can normal summon it, but a lot of people are preparing to fight this deck, so you don't like expect to get hit by imperms and ashes a lot. So making sure that we can have ways to insulate our Branded Fusion so that it resolves, or just having extra backup plans is super important as well. So we only play 2 Aluber because it does technically conflict with the right package and the whole Adventure Engine, but we can also summon it through Branded Opening, which is super nice. One Adlib because Adlib is insane. If you get it back with Branded Red, or even like with in the like Poly and the regular standard like Despian builds, it just goes off. This card enables OTKs like no tomorrow. Actually insane card. And then yeah, Tragedy. If you mill Tragedy, you can either choose to search it, because we are playing Grass. Grass is another component here. If you mill Tragedy, you can choose to add the Aluber as a search, or you can use it to like set like Branded Fusions and Branded Reds that you have milled. That comes up a lot often, especially if you end up milling multiple Albaz. You kind of need a way to get into Branded Red. But that never really happened for us. We never really milled multiple Albaz to it was actually a problem. Our Shaddoll ratios here, we're running a little bit lower on Shaddolls because they are bricks, but you do tend to want to see one of them, at least so that your fusions that you do open are live. So we're playing 2 copies of Shaddoll Hedgehog, 2 copies of Wendy, 2 copies of Squam, 1 copy of Dragon, 1 copy of Ariel, 1 Beast. It should be, I think, 9 names in total, 9 Shaddoll names. And then the complement to the Shaddolls, we got triple Shaddoll Fusion, 2 L Shaddoll Fusion. We want a good number of fusion spells, but we don't want to be too bricky with them. So we played 2 copies of El Shaddoll Fusion. 1 core double Schism, because Schism's like okay to open, assuming like you can get some sort of plays going on. And whenever you resolve Grass, if you get to mill a Schism, finding ways to get core into the graveyard lets you get Schism, and that gives you access to the main reason why you play this deck. So that makes the Shaddoll package, that makes the Branded package. That pretty much makes the whole main deck right there. A couple Callback Graves also help insulate the whole setup. 2 Albaz I think is all that we really needed. There were some things that here that I wanted to try, like Pot Desires was a thing we could have tried out. Like, if there's one thing that we could have cut potentially, it was probably the Water Enchantress, and then maybe add like more, like the Brave Engine, maybe cut them. But I felt like it wasn't necessary to add like Desires. I thought our deck was kind of like good enough as is. 2 Super Polys because this card's busted, although Super Poly gets a little bit weaker here because I'm not playing Draco Despia or any of the Despia infusions, which I was trying to find room for even just Aquaritus, because against something like Sword Soul, if you can like normal summon a Luber, there's a good chance they probably negate with Chi-Jiao. And then if you can Super Poly away the Luber and the Chi-Jiao to make Aquaritus, and then you can use Aquaritus, that might be able to contest the Baron de Fleur, forcing a negate there, and then you can do your plays afterwards there. But there just wasn't enough space to add it in. All the other cards in here I felt like were a little more important. So we have, for the extra deck now, 2 copies of Winda, amazing, always. 2 copies of Apkalone, 2 copies of Construct. These are kind of like the standard 6 Shaddolls you should be playing in pretty much all your Shaddoll builds if you are running cards like Shaddoll Fusion and have like a higher Shaddoll count. Those are like the standard 6. You could play Shekanaga, but you really only get access to it if you open Max C. And the reason why you'd play Shekanaga because it'd be an out to the Adventure token. And even stuff like an Emancipator, you can send stuff to the graveyard versus Emancipator. Also, you'll notice that I have the random alt art for Winda there. Just kind of my own thing. I had a little modifications, but it is what it is. 1 Draco Despia. This was my Super Poly choice since there's so many branded decks. Generally, it'll come up quite often. There are some times where I wish it was like Starving Venom or I wish it was Aquaritus, but this card comes up a lot because you can also summon it through Branded in Red, which it's a lot harder to do with like Starving Venom because Starving Venom requires monsters on the field. And then our extra deck for the Albaz package: 2 Albion, 2 Mirrorjade, 1 Lebellion. For this list, we only needed 1 Lebellion because we weren't like cycling over. Like you can cycle over and over again. We'll play 1 Guardian Chimera as well for extra power in here with the Branded in Red. So we are playing like just a traditional Despia deck. I think these ratios were fine. We do go into the second Mirrorjade often. 2 Albion is kind of where you want to be because sometimes you do want to be able to summon an Albion off Branded Fusion. You can send Fairy Tail Snow. Same thing with Shaddoll Fusion. You can send Snow to make Construct. The Snow is very powerful in here because it allows you to dodge. It allows you to dodge stuff like Imperms and Veilers on Rebellion if you can stack your grave up first. And the same kind of principle as why we play Despia and Comedy. We can use Comedy to tribute the Rebellion if it gets threatened by Imperm to Veiler. Or you can even, once you use Construct to send a Schism, you can use Comedy in the graveyard to tribute the Construct. Because a lot of the time you get locked out of Link Summoning. When you use like Branded Fusion, you get locked out of going into like Verte or whatever. So just having a Comedy in the graveyard tributing Construct allows you to get back a Schism that you send off of it, which is super wonderful. 1 Link Spider. We play Link Spider because of the Water Enchantress. Being able to use the right, you can link away the right token into Link Spider if like our Griffin gets stopped or something, and then we can go into Verte, and then Verte can send Branded Fusion, and then Branded Fusion can use the Verte and the Albaz that you send in the graveyard to make a Mirrorjade, and then Mirrorjade can banish something that gets you set up for the next turn because you have the Albaz in the graveyard. Branded in Red can target Albaz, and that pretty much sets you up for Guardian Chimera as well. So that's the reason why we play these. We have those for the extra deck. This is the main deck, and now I'll show you guys a couple replays. Like I said, we're not going to do too many replays, so I'll show you a couple replays we got here. Also, shoutouts to, well, me for making the cool playmat here. Alright, so we're up against... Hey, wait a minute. It's the mirror match. Brand opening, Wendy there. Gonna set a Hedgehog. Summons the Aluber. Gets the Branded Fusion. Summons the Rebellion. Just a standard play. Like I said, there's a lot of Branded online now with the new stuff here. It's just they're not playing as base. This deck was actually so insane, by the way. Summons the Mirrorjade, sets 1, banishes his own Aluber, because that's what you do. By doing that, that allows you to set Branded in Red. And since you have the Despia and Tragedy in the graveyard, that lets you set up Guardian Chimera. So we draw for a turn. I'm going to lead off with Fateful Adventure. He's going to Branded in Red. I'm gonna Maxi here because there's a good chance, like, If he has ad-lib, then we get to draw 2 cards out of this if he chooses to summon. He chooses to use Dramaturge here, Tragedy, summons a Guardian Chimera, we get to draw 1. He chooses not to summon here, he doesn't want to give us any more cards. He's just going to add, he's going to get the pop 1. Draw 2. We're going to activate Branded Fusion now. He sent a Tragedy and an Albaz. Lubellian effect here, just pitch one of the Shaddolls that we have. Activate Tragedy. Grab the Aluber. Fuse off. Summon our own Mirrorjade of our own. I'm going to use the effect here to banish the set Hedgehog, because I don't want him to actually get access to Shaddoll Fusion here. And I'm going to use the Aluber here, and then my game plan here is to just set up like a Guardian Chimera to contest his Guardian Chimera, and then we have El Shaddoll Fusion potentially. I'm going to send the Wendy here so we can make sure we have the ability to El Shaddoll Fusion into a Winda if need be. So we set 1 pass. A lot of this deck too is being able to set up like this kind of board. You get to set up the Mirrorjade, as well as the ability to summon, like use Guardian Chimera and summon Winda. A lot of cool, tricky things you can do with this deck. So he gets the Branded Loss, which is going to give him a ton of value throughout the rest of this duel. I'm going to activate Branded Red, but he has to call by, which actually sucks a lot here. This is going to stop him from using any more tragedies of his own for the next couple turns. I'm going to activate Shaddoll Core. I need to not die here, so I'm going to summon a Winda while my opponent summons the Shaddoll Core. He's going to be locked to a special summoning. I am going to lose my Winda here in battle to this Guardian Chimera, but I feel like I need to do it just so I can stop my opponent from like setting up an absurd board. Get to summon back the Aluber. I negate this so it's no longer has the substitute as being a Shaddoll name. He's just going to make a second Guardian Chimera here though. Branded Loss, I can't respond to anything here. He's going to get back Mirrorjade, so we're already looking in like a really rough position. We're going to protect our Mirrorjade. The reason why I do this is because I want him. I want to force his Mirrorjade to use his effect right now. I don't want him to have access to Mirrorjade on my own turn, so I force him to use it here. To get the Albion here, so yeah, we're in a little bit of trouble. We do get to expend his branded opening in the graveyard here with our own Mirrorjade, which is helpful. We rip into Shaddoll Fusion, which is actually super nice, but he has a Shaddoll Schism, which is going to make this a lot harder to go through, because he summons a window of his own. So then now I have to go and make Apkalone. My negate target probably should have been something different here other than the Winda, because I was going to try and contest the Winda by battle anyway. I popped the Theater here. I probably should have negated the Schism in all honesty. He has the Branded in red. But here, because he probably wants to be able to go off with this ad libitum, he's going to use the Winda here as material. But I guess he could just also not do that. He could just summon and just be a contest the Apkalone. I probably just lose to Winda, so maybe I am forced to negate there. I'm going to El Shaddoll Fusion right now. Use off the ad-lib to make a Winda here, because that's the only thing I can really make. I can't really make a second Apkalone with getting any real value here. Summon a Mirrorjade back. He's going to negate me here, but I'm going to chain the effect because Mirrorjade's busted and it's a quick effect. Banish the Masquerade. Crash into our Mirrorjades because I don't want him to get his effect back. Neither of our Mirrorjades can use its effects because it wasn't properly fusion summoned. They were summoned from the graveyard. It's going to allow me to set the Branded in red, and hopefully we can push through. He has a second Theater, which is super unfortunate. He's going to have Branded Fusion. I'm going to let it resolve here, just because we have the Winda here. He does have to contest the Winda somehow. He's going to negate it here right now, which is fine. I also would rather just save this Sash Blossom so I can guard the Chimera here. He's going to Schism now. I'm going to Schism back, because I want to be able to resolve a Guardian Chimera. I know he's going to Schism out like a Winda or an Apkalone of his own to send my Winda to the graveyard, so I want to have another body so that I can successfully resolve this Guardian Chimera. He does summon another Winda here. I get back the ad-lib. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get this ad-lib's effect. I will get to pop something though here. I get the add Shaddoll Fusion back with the Winda. Now at this point, our extra decks are both running quite low. This construct. I maybe should have popped the Dramaturge. That might have been correct instead of the Guardian Chimera there. Especially because I drew the Nibiru here, but so I wasn't expecting him to actually commit here, but he ends up committing quite hard here. Summons the Albaz. I'm gonna let him do this. Like, I could nip here. I'm gonna let him do this just because it's more cards that he's just chewing through his extra deck here. He's gonna activate Kit here. He's gonna add back Branded and Red, shuffle something back, and then he's gonna try to go to battle phase and try to move out of main phase. I'm gonna hit him with the Nib now. He's got 4 cards left in his extra deck, by the way. That's gonna allow him. Feeder's gonna allow him to get back. He's gonna get back Core as well. Mirrorjade's also gonna pop my end phase. He summons back the Mirrorjade. Branded and Red gets back. At this point, I think I'm dead. Lucky for me, he has no more targets for this Branded and Red. He's chewed through pretty much all of his fusions that he could have gone through. The Masquerade doesn't look like he has access to Quiritus right now. So I lucked out a bit there by the grind game that this is. He summons an Apollo in response to my Construct summon. I'm usually just summoning the Construct here just so I can out the token with the Schism here. I activate right here, but I forgot that I already milled Faithful, so I blundered there a little bit. Activate Shaddoll Fusion, select another Construct. I have Fairy Tail Snow in the graveyard. Now, Wendy. So at this point, I have no more Shaddolls left in my extra deck. All I have is just Albaz play stuff, things I can do with Albaz. Got Fairy Tailing Spider and Dragonlink Despia. My opponent's sitting on 3 cards right now, which I'm pretty sure, you'll see. Get my Core back. Get my Shaddoll Fusion. It doesn't really matter. I'll just... any card I can get back here. Really. Punch the Mirrorjade. The Mirrorjade can't use its effect. Wasn't fusion summoned, so it can't wipe the board. You get back to the Ecclesia here. 1 Albaz in the graveyard. 2 Albaz in the graveyard. He's probably out of Albaz here. He links Naverte. Uses Apollo to shuffle itself back. Activates the effect. Spends a good solid minute looking through his deck to realize he doesn't actually have anything to go into, because we ran him out of gas. Nice! Alright, going second here. Our hand looks pretty good. Good as in, like, well, I mean, it's good in the sense that we need a little bit of help. We need this Max C to help draw some cards. Or at least that's what I was hoping. We're not going to get any cards here. He goes, Pod Duality, adds map. Kind of in a bad spot here. He activates map here. Banishes M-Pen. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. So he activates the Robina here. I'm actually not going to Ash this, just because him banishing M-Pen tells me that he probably has Eaglin in hand, or like token, which I guess, like, I was expecting him to have Eaglin in hand, so I actually let the Robina resolve and let him go for the Eaglin here. I'm gonna Ash the Eaglin though, so he can't do it, have any more high tribute summons here, and then he summons Barrier Statue, which is fine. And I drop Branded Fusion, and that's okay. He hits us with the Max C. I mean, he tells us he has no birds in hand, which is good. I can normal summon the Snow, flip down this Barrier Statue, and I can play the game. What's my favorite decks? Ritual Beast, Gusto, Shaddoll. Anything with Winda in it. We have to make the Lubellion, shovel back, summon the Mirrorjade, give him 2 cards here. We're going to use the effect now. Banish. We'll hit battle phase. I'll attack once with the Mirrorjade. Activate the Branded and Red here, because we have the Tragedy here. Given the delays that my opponent was given here, his set card is Dreaming Town. There is no delay in the battle phase at all, so that told me, and there was a prompt at the end of the main phase, which told me that's Dreaming Town. So I'm going to use Guardian Chimera here. I'm going to use the ad lib to get back the Mirrorjade. I'm just going to pop the map here. I'm going to use Guardian Chimera to attack the Robina because it can't attack directly. And then we use Mirrorjade to attack, and we use Snow to attack. Very quick replay, showing an OTK versus Flunder, and a lot of cool things you can do with the deck. Yeah, we use Branded Red in the battle phase. That's the way we're trying to play around Nibiru, because we have, at the time we hit the battle phase, about 3 summons. You can't activate Nibiru in the battle phase. We use Branded Red, using the ad libitum in hand to summon back the Mirrorjade after attacking with the Mirrorjade, and that gives us straight lethal over the birds. Alright, so this is the rank up game. Rank up game, we have realized we're at against a 60 card pile mishmash. So we know our grass looks greener, it's not going to resolve here. Also, I don't have any replays of me showing grass resolving, do I? It just shows that the deck can function without grass, but the duels that you have resolved grass, you pretty much just win anyway. There is a little bit of decision process here. So this duel was kind of weird. I kind of messed up my following turn play after this. But I ended up getting, well, like, I kind of made a misplay and then made up for it, and you'll see this in the duel. So I activate Shaddoll Core here, after he, like, searches the right, because I want to summon a Winda here. Using the Dragon and the Core, I'm actually hoping that he has, that he doesn't have Faithful in hand here. So he places Faithful in the deck, which is good, because it allows me to activate Dragon to pop it, and then activate the Core to get back to Shaddoll Fusion. A little bit of a gambly play, but our hand was kind of soft anyway, what kind of happen, and that's a great sign. That's a great sign for us, we want to see that. This is where I mess up. I sat here for a good solid bit trying to think if I could push lethal somehow. There was one thing that was causing me issues, and I realized I probably should have did this differently. I should have probably bounced the token and then dealt with the set card differently, but I bounced this here. Summon the Water Enchantress, normal summon, because we want to be able, because I was thinking I could link it to Verte. And then he shows me Griffin here, which is unfortunate, because I would have had like a clear shot of lethal here. So now I have to try and be a little bit improvising here. So I use the Water Enchantress here to grab it right. I link away for Link Spider. I'm going to activate the right so I get another right here. He's got Max C now, which is a little annoying, because he's going to give him like 3 cards here. This is where I mess up, by the way. So I go activate Branded Fusion with Verte, and I'm going to chain Shaddoll Fusion here. I'm going to use the Verte and the Shaddoll Beast to make a Winda. However, because I did this play, I can no longer use the Verte as part of my material for the Branded Fusion, so I have to use the Link Spider. So I end up being short 800 points of damage here. Just kind of like brain farted and realized after I'd clicked buttons that I can't do it this way. But I opened a Branded opening, which is actually such a nice draw, because it gets me the ad libitum here. And with the Mirrorjade here, I can do some stuff. Get the Branded in red here. I get to add back the Shaddoll Fusion. Punch him for 72, not 82. So I kind of flubbed lethal there, but I'm still kind of in an okay spot. The only issue is opponent's got 8 cards in hand. And I don't have a negate anymore. So he leads up with Max C. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, lucky me, he's playing Dragonlink. Dragonlink is notorious for not being able to really play through a Winda. He would have to specifically, especially at this point, it can't be Imperm, it can't be Veiler, it has to be specifically be Droplet. He's going to activate this, Striker Dragon, add the Boot Sector. He's going to activate the Droplet. Negate the Winda, negate the Mirrorjade. Alright, so this is where I try and do something a little tricky. I'm in a little bit of a rough spot right now. I need to do something clever here, because right now I do not have any more Windas in my extra deck, so I cannot Shaddoll Fusion into a Winda currently. I decide I'm going to activate the Branded in red to get back the Albaz. This is in response to him getting another right token here. We know he has no Faithful, so his right Aramis here isn't going to do a whole lot here. I go into Lubellion, which is going to give him some cards here, which is unfortunate because he's on the Max C. Lubellion, discard. Shovel back the Winda and the Albaz to make Mirrorjade. Now I let my opponent play for a bit. He's going to activate Boost Sector Launch here. I'm going to activate Mirrorjade, chain Shaddoll Fusion here. Because now I have the Winda and the Mirrorjade to go into another Winda. We're going to banish. He's going to summon some rockets in defense mode. Made sure that to summon the defense mode. Winda get back. Sets 1, passes the turn. We get our Albion, set another Branded in red. So we're able to play and set up another Winda and still have him locked under here. Activate the Faithful, pitch the Max C because I'm trying to go for lethal here. Normal summon the Water Enchantress, just go to battle phase. Punch over the whatever rocket. Punch over, and then lethal. Winda Lethal. So yes, that is Shaddoll, Branded, Despia, Grass Pile, Adventure. It's a pile deck, a fusion pile deck. Yeah, the deck is a ton of fun. It's very powerful. Has a lot of different cool lines. You need to think a lot with the deck. Dude resolved to Maxis and lost. Yeah, that's the thing. Is this deck can play through. You can OTK through Maxi because a lot of times you can situate yourself, but you can summon Winda as their 5th summon, or like in response to like another fusion summon, so they can't actually hit you with Nibiru. And then at that point, you just get to punch in, and like a lot of the other hand traps that they might have that they could draw, like Imperms don't do anything if they have any other cards in play. Veilers don't do anything outside the main phase. Same with the Nibs, you know. Ashes, like at that point, you've already comboed off. The Ashes aren't probably really going to hurt you. This deck is awesome. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. This little profile thing here, this little video that we're doing. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. If you want to catch me live, I do stream regularly. That's at twitch.tv/whirlwind, just like the name. And yeah, if you guys like the video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, whatever, the whole thing. Smash that like button, give that little subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.